Hello. So, what happened? Okay, listen. Here's the deal. In the lead up to Spider-Man: No Way Home, I decided to sit down and rewatch all the Spider-Man movies, just for fun, and also for content. So I made content. I rewatched all the movies. I made multiple videos for talking about those movies in the lead up to No Way Home, and then. So what you're about to watch is just all those videos just kind of slapped on top of each other. There's not a lot of extra editing that I did or anything. They kind of just put together. I'll leave time codes in the description, or maybe I have to do it in the comment section. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'll leave time codes so that you can jump to your different, whichever era you want to specifically listen to in regard to your favorite man of spiders. But you could just sit down and watch it all. I don't know, whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. I imagine you know what you're doing. You clicked on the video, so here you are. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Have fun with it. Okay, bye. I mean, well, not bye. You're about to watch the video. Just watch it. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. We've all heard the countless amount of rumors talking about the next Spider-Man movie and how it maybe is going to have Tobey Maquire and Andrew Garfield come back as their versions of Spider-Man. It's a whole multiverse thing. I still don't subscribe to that notion, but maybe it'll happen. I don't know. It'll be cool if it does. I'm not saying that I definitely won't. I'm not saying that I definitely will. Whatever. I made a whole other video talking about that earlier. But I made that video before we got the first trailer for the movie. And now we have the trailer, and we now can confirm that the villains are going to come back. Now we have official information saying that, yes, the villains are going to come back from those movies. So there's that. And so it is for this reason that I decided I wanted to just sit down and rewatch the Spider-Man movies again. I haven't seen the original trilogy in freaking years. I wanted to watch it to see why. I'd seen them. But so many people are flaunting these movies around like they're the gold standard of Spider-Man, like they're the epitome of how Spider-Man should be. Hey, this is the definitive version of Spider-Man. If it's anything besides Tobey Maguire, it doesn't count. I wanted to rewatch the movies to see if I agreed with that notion. I have come to tell you, kind of don't. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that this is the gold standard. That this should be how Spider-Man is. Like this should be the epitome of how Spider-Man should be. I don't get it. I have determined at this point that basically everyone who's saying that is part of the reason that they're saying that is nostalgia. I'm sure of it. That's a good chunk of the reasoning. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't want to say that's all of it. I don't want to say that that's the only reason anyone would say that. Because it's not. Some people just genuinely believe, hey, this is like really good. This is really good. This is how Spider-Man should be, I feel like. And fine, you're welcome to have that opinion. But make sure you say that after you've rewatched the movies. If you can rewatch these movies and genuinely tell me that this is the definitive version of Spider-Man, okay. Cool, fine. You can have that opinion. I don't care enough. I don't care enough to be angry with you. I genuinely don't. No, but what does upset me is plenty of people who clearly haven't seen the movies in so long, acting like it's the best thing ever. You haven't seen these movies since you were 5. Don't come to me acting like all high and mighty, like you know everything. But can we watch the movies and then come back to me with that opinion? If you genuinely still have, again, like I said, if you genuinely have that opinion, fine. I don't care. And it's mostly just how vitriol people get. People get so angry and bent out of shape about this. Y'all, it ain't that deep. It's a superhero. In red spandex. Climbing on the walls. Freaking fighting a dude with big, gangly, weird robot arms. Just doing a weird green Power Rangers costume flying around throwing pumpkin bombs at people. The dude fights sand. Y'all, so many people take this way too seriously. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. So many people are so angry and so bent out of shape because because of how Spider-Man is just how Spider-Man is right now. Whatever, the character changes and evolves. Times change. You have any idea how many iterations of this character there are? There's so many different versions of this character. There's not a definitive version of Spider-Man anymore. It's too late for that. Maybe there was at one point, but not anymore. We're at the point where this character has been redone and reinterpreted so many times. There's not a single perfect specific version of Spider-Man. So we kind of have to accept that for now, in the current modern day, for the current generation, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Tom Holland is the Spider-Man that we gotta deal with. And you can like him or hate him. I don't care enough. But like, I like him. I like all the different versions of Spider-Man, including this one. I can admit that. I'm a big enough man. But I do have to say that these movies are kind of a little bit overrated. Just a touch. Just a little bit. I can't in any way say that these movies are bad, because they're not. These are not bad movies. These movies are good. I even still kind of enjoyed the third one. I know everyone, even the people who loved this version of Spider-Man, everyone can agree the third one is the weakest one. Everyone can agree that the third one's maybe not super great. But weirdly enough, even I like that one. I like that one. I like the third one. The lighting the lighting here is terrible. The lighting in this video, not the movies. This video is terrible. All I have is this lamp back here. I got this lamp. Gotta make the most out of that. Trying my best. What accent was that when I said the word best there? That was weird. But no, yeah, these movies aren't bad. These movies are not bad by any stretch of the imagination, I can't say. But really? Tobey Maquire is y'all's Spider-Man? You look at Tobey Maquire and you say, yes, this is how Spider-Man should be. His performance is fine. Whatever. His performance is fine. It's decent. It's not terrible. But something about his version doesn't click for me. I don't know what it is. I don't quite know what it is. I don't know what it is. Something about his version of Spider-Man rubs me the wrong way a tiny bit. Okay, I can't quite pin it down. Not hating on these movies. I want to make that very clear throughout this video, because on the off chance that this one does become popular, on the off chance that this video does become popular and blows up, I want to make it clear I don't hate these movies. So I don't know, something about the way Tobey plays it is not doing it for me. It's just not doing it. It doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. I don't know enough to freaking really actually truly explain it, but something don't sit right. Here's something I want to get out right at the gate. I'm back here now. I'm a silhouette. Here's something I want to point out there right here and now. Mary Jane Watson, as depicted in these Sam Raimi movies, is possibly the worst love interest for Spider-Man. I can hear the torches and pitchforks outside my door right now. Hang on, wait, just don't come in yet. Don't come in and kill me. I got other stuff to say on the matter. I guess overall for what the movies are, for the tone that they're trying to strike here, it works. But it's not great. You look at freaking Gwen Stacy from the Amazing Spider-Man movies, or Michelle Jones, yeah, in the MCU. Yeah, her initials are MJ. Her real name is Michelle Jones. This is not Mary Jane. That MJ is not Mary Jane. It's that it's a different character. It's a different character entirely. That should be easy to understand for some people to understand that. I don't get it. Whatever. You look at those girls. You look at those characters, and you look at Mary Jane as depicted in the Sam Raimi trilogy. You compare them, and you'll quickly notice something. These girls have personality. They each have some sort of personality traits, something that, defines their characters. This one, she's real good at screaming. And before people have the opportunity, you need to say, that's just how she is. That's just how Mary Jane is. No, it isn't. You look at her in the comics, and you look at her in other versions, you look at other interpretations of this character, she's not just this damsel in distress. In the Sam Raimi trilogy, that's literally all that she is. She's just this damsel in distress. She's just a pretty face for Spider-Man to save and fall in love with. That's literally her only purpose in the entire franchise. It's literally her only purpose in the entire trilogy. It's weak. Your moves are weak. It's real pitiful. You look at other versions of Mary Jane, and she's strong, confident. She's kind of a badass sometimes. She's a take charge kind of gal. A lot of times she's actively wanting to participate in the fight and help out Spider-Man when she knows the secret identity. And even when she doesn't, she's still wanting to do something when she's there. This Mary Jane literally just there, waiting to be rescued. It's not even that I hate the idea of there being a damsel in distress character. That can exist, but why does it have to be Mary Jane? And why is that all that she can be in literally every movie? Why does she have to literally every single movie? Something has to happen. She has to get captured, and she screams. I get it. I get that she's captured, but why does she have to get captured every time? Literally every single movie, every single time she gets captured. All three of them. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but that's the thing. Just because it ain't broke doesn't mean it's fixed. I don't want to harp on it too much, but it bothers me. It bothers me a lot, and I don't like it. What I do very much like in this trilogy, I gotta say it, the villains. The villains are done really well in these movies, I gotta admit. Remember when I said that I didn't just blindly hate these movies? Yeah, I meant it. I can point out good things. One good thing, all the villains are freaking dope. I am so excited to see Willem Dafoe come back as Green Goblin, because oh my gosh, he's so much fun. He's freaking nuts, dude. Freaking when he blows up on May's window while she's praying, and he's just staying, and like she's mid prayer. Here she was just about to finish, and she's just saying, deliver us, and Green Goblin just finish it. That's so good. The voice, the way, just the energy that Willem Dafoe exudes in that role is so good. Oh my gosh, it is. That's also side tangent. This is for Spider-Man as a whole, not just this trilogy, but Spider-Man as a franchise generally. You ever notice how we haven't gotten the classic Green Goblin like in anything at all? For a good while, every single version of Green Goblin that we've gotten in the past few years, in the past probably like decade or so, has been the more like mutated ultimate Green Goblin. Like the version we see in the Ultimate Comics. That's the Green Goblin we got in Spider-Verse, complete with the wings, in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which I honestly was pretty good, in my opinion. But in that, he's big, he's all big and bulky. And then the newer freaking Spider-Man series on Disney XD, we get the Hobgoblin first, and it's Harry. We get Harry as the Hobgoblin before we get the Green Goblin, and then when Norman does eventually become the Green Goblin, it's happening at the same time that he's fusing with the symbiote. So then he becomes freaking the Venom Goblin or something? Dark Goblin? Something? I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't Green Goblin. They just didn't bother to introduce Green Goblin at all before doing that, which was stupid, and I don't like it. Yeah, in all honesty, I've been wanting a more classic Green Goblin for a while, like we got here in the first movie, and in the original comics, and in several other cartoon interpretations. I want a more classic Green Goblin. We haven't gotten that in a while, and I'm very glad that we're getting that. We're bringing him back so that we can do this again. Sorry, that was a side. That has nothing to do with these original movies. I just wanted to point that out. So, Green Goblin is freaking dope. Dr. Octopus, everyone points to Spider-Man 2 as being like one of the greatest ever. I still slightly disagree, but I liked it. I enjoyed the film. I can honestly say that I enjoyed the movie. I can't say it's one of the best, in my opinion. But darn it, I watched it and I liked it. I have a positive experience watching the movie. So there you go. Come out with your pitchforks now. But no, yeah, Doc Ock is really good in this movie. He's really good in the second one. He's really fun. I mean, it is weird. It is kind of weird how he goes. How he goes from no, I can't steal. I'm not a criminal. To all right, gonna throw this old lady off a roof. See ya, Grandma. That's kind of a quick change. So that's kind of weird, but like, whatever. He was fun throughout the rest of the movie. I'm not gonna complain. Also, my favorite moment in the entire trilogy is the scene Peter and Aunt May, they're at the bank trying to get a loan. They're denied the loan, and then it pans over to a man standing in front of the safe, and then he pulls this flap from his trench coat, and all of a sudden, ha ha! I have mechanical arms. I'm gonna break the safe. It's such a quick change too, because it happened so quickly. Because he's only on screen for like half a second before he rips the flap off. The idea that he was just standing there waiting for his moment, and then just ha! My time! It's so freaking ridiculous. I love it. I absolutely love it. Can't get enough. You understand here? You're a normal man. You had a trench coat. Not doing anything. Psych! I have medical arms. I'm breaking everything. And then we get to the third movie. I'll be honest. All the main complaint that everyone has with the third one is that there's too many villains. And yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Having to deal with Sandman, Venom, and New Goblin. Yeah, it's his name. It's New Goblin. Couldn't come up with any of that. Just make him Hobgoblin. That would have been way easier. Having all three of these subplots go on at the same time makes it so that nothing gets enough focus, and you can't really invest in any of it. So yeah, that is a big problem. It's a big problem that a lot of people have pointed out. However, I think we can all agree Sandman is done the best. For as flawed as this movie is, weirdly enough, Sandman is done pretty darn well, I'd say. For what little we get of him. I can't remember. In the marketing, which one did they lean on the most? Because I remember seeing that, I remember as a kid, the marketing telling me that, okay, yeah, he's fighting... he's fighting Sandman, but also now there's the black suit. Yeah, you kids like that, right? I can't remember which villain they leaned on the most for the advertising. Because just earlier, I was looking at the posters to make the thumbnail for this video, and I saw the poster for the third one. He's very Venom based, so like. Who's supposed to be the main villain here? Is it supposed to be Venom? I guess it's supposed to be Venom. And the weirdest part about all of it is, while I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking about it back in my head, I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to have Sandman there, and have the scene of him being washed away in the sewer, to further amplify and have his connection with Uncle Ben's death to further amplify to further display, I know words, to further display how much more angry and aggressive Peter has become with the symbiote on him. I get that. And then later on when they team up, I can see what they were going for. They didn't quite stick the landing, but I definitely see what they were going for. I reckon if they had done the whole Harry subplot, give that its own movie. If they had given that its own movie, and then Spider-Man 4, they could have done Sandman and Venom and given them both more screen time and more focus. It probably would have worked out better. I do know that in the actual Spider-Man 4 that they were planning, Vulture was supposed to be in it. And we were supposed to get Mysterio, and then it turned out to be Bruce Campbell. No, yeah, I genuinely feel like this movie would be better if we didn't have to deal with Harry and New Goblin. If you just take that one subplot out of the movie, I think everything would have flowed better, at least to some extent. Maybe it still would have been bad, but maybe it still wouldn't have been good. But it would have worked out better, I think. Give me my hydration, damn it! Just trying to twist the bottle with just one hand. To struggle. I just want to kind of rapid fire these other characters. Freaking Harry. He's fine, I guess. It's weird how freaking, oh my lord. Okay, here's something I gotta point out. Here is something. When Harry, first off, Harry assumes Spider-Man killed his dad as a Green Goblin. Okay. And then in the second one, he finds out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So now he's being distant from Peter, saying, "You killed my dad. I don't like you anymore." Pete, maybe actually deny it. Maybe say something. Because the only thing that Peter ever says in response is, "Come on, man. We're bros. We're buds. Come on, Harry. Don't be like this. I know that you think that I killed your dad." But come on, we're friends. Maybe deny it. Maybe say, hey, I actually didn't kill your dad. His glider, he was trying to attack me with his glider, and I dodged, and it hit him. Maybe freaking say that. And to Peter's credit, he does end up saying that eventually. But it's not until he gets freaking attacked by Harry. Peter never actually denies that he killed Norman until Harry starts actually trying to kill him. Maybe, dummy, if you had said something beforehand, you wouldn't be in this situation. Maybe if you said something, just here's a thought. If you had maybe denied the fact that you did it, maybe he wouldn't keep thinking that you did it. That was frustrating. That was freaking frustrating while watching these movies. It's kind of put on the back burner for most of these films, so it's easy to forget. But good lord, man! Also, his relationship with Mary Jane is not super good or healthy. It doesn't seem very good for either of them, and maybe they shouldn't be together. There's not really a compelling reason why they should be together in any of these movies. I see a lot of people taking issue with how. People have pointed out that Aunt May's getting younger and younger in these interpretations, and now with the MCU, they're upset at how young she actually is. They're upset because of how young Marissa Tomei is compared to any other version of Aunt May. They're basically upset that she's not an old lady. And I get it, the character has been this one thing for a good while, and now all of a sudden she's not. But I want to tell you, here's a little anecdote. Here's a little something. So me, growing up, I of course always heard, you can't not hear it, she's referred to as Aunt May. Aunt May, yeah, sure. But I only ever heard those words being mushed together as a kid. The aunt prefix just meant nothing as a kid. To my little brain. So that combined with the fact that she is an old lady, she is an old elderly woman, I straight up thought she was Peter's grandma. So that also, we never see Peter's parents in anything. Peter's parents are never acknowledged in any version of Spider-Man that we've seen except for the Amazing Spider-Man movies. You saw how that went. Yeah, except for that, and then one little point in the comic books. Peter's parents are never acknowledged at all. It's literally just Aunt May. Hey, and it's just Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben dies, and now it's just Aunt May. For whatever reason, as a kid, I didn't even know that Uncle Ben died. I didn't know anything about Uncle Ben. For whatever reason, that it was gone from my memory. Gone from my mind. I don't know. For whatever, I guess when I watched the movie when I was freaking 3, I was freaking 3 years old. The idea, the moment where the old man dies in the street didn't click for me for whatever reason. Why didn't it? That's weird. Maybe I'm weird. But freaking good lord. It is way too easy to mistake Aunt May for Peter's grandmother instead of Peter's aunt. But now you look at Marissa Tomei and you compare her with Tom Holland, and it's easy to say that, yeah, that's Peter's aunt. Yeah, okay, I can believe that. Yeah, she kind of looks like she could be... Oh, jeez. Yeah, she looks like the proper age for an aunt of a teenager. Yeah, she looks like she could be about the same age as the parent to a 15-year-old. Peter's supposed to be a teenager in most of these interpretations. Not all of them. Sometimes he's a young adult, and that's cool. Whatever. But most of these interpretations, and including in this movie, in this trilogy, Peter's supposed to be a teenager who's going into young adulthood. He's supposed to be a teenager who's slowly becoming a 20-something. So why, in the world, does Aunt May look like she's pushing 80? Why the hell does his aunt look like she could be put in a retirement home at any moment? So yeah, I don't know, man. Like these movies are fine. I don't hate them. For the few people who care, if anyone who cares, again, on the off chance that this video does really well, people are going to be in the comments lighting me up saying, you hate these movies. Why do you hate these movies? What's wrong with you? And I just don't. I don't hate these movies. I think these movies are great. These movies are fine. I can totally see the appeal. I totally 100% understand why people love these movies. I don't understand why people say these are the gold standard. I don't understand why people say that this is the best Spider-Man. This should be how it is. And why they're so passionate about it. Why people are so unbelievably angry anytime anyone disagrees with them on these movies being the best. Along with that, if you're one of those people who freaking want to make fun of people for saying that this is the best Spider-Man ever, don't do that either. That's not helping. Don't fight fire with fire. Everyone burns. The entire forest has gone down. Being part of the Spider-Man fandom is exhausting. Good freaking lord. I just want to enjoy the character. Can I just do that? Do I have to pick a favorite? Do I have to... That kind of just goes for everything. It kind of just goes for entertainment as a whole. Why does everything have to be either the best thing or the worst thing? Sometimes there's middle grounds. There's gray areas, people. You can like this version of Spider-Man, or you cannot like this version of Spider-Man. And at the end of the day, no matter what your opinion, you're still a human who has other opinions. It doesn't hurt anything, whether you like it or you don't. It's totally okay to just not like it. And shut up, stomach. And if you don't like these movies, okay, fine. Just don't be a douche about it. If you do like these movies, okay, fine. Don't be a douche about it. Either like the movies or don't. I don't care enough. I just wanted to get my 2 cents out on the situation. I'm gonna watch the Amazing Spider-Man movies next. It's gonna be real fun. I'm sure of it. So yeah, that's the end of this. Goodbye. I'll see you later for another thing. J.K. Simmons and J. Jonah Jameson is absolutely one of the best comic book character casting choices that we've ever gotten in anything. And I mean that. I say that with my whole chest. Maybe not my whole chest, but I mean it with my whole chest. You're definitely going to see this after. The trailer for No Way Home has already come out. The second trailer. That's coming out in a few hours. Roughly 2 hours from now that I'm recording this. So that'll be fun. You'll see a reaction video to that before this. Anyways, let's not discuss the trailer. Let's not discuss the second trailer on account of I haven't seen it yet. Let's talk The Amazing Spider-Man. First, I want to kind of defend these 2 movies on account of a lot of people hate them. A lot of people say they're not good. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't believe you. I believe that's bad. Let's do like we did last time and kind of sort of try and go in order, starting with the first one. And the first thing that comes to mind, a lot of people harp on how the suit looks. A lot of people point out that the suit doesn't look good in this first movie. And okay, sure, you can think that. I think it looks fine. I'll admit it doesn't look great, but like, whatever, man. It doesn't look terrible. It's not bad. It ain't super good either. I will say, I like the second one a lot more than I like the first one. Something about it, I can definitely see why I can see why people have some sort of strong distaste for them. At least the first one. Because of how much of a tone shift it is from the Sam Raimi trilogy. The Sam Raimi trilogy was all bright and colorful and like sanitized. The Sam Raimi trilogy. I can say words real good. The Sam Raimi trilogy is much more cartoony. It's a much more of a cartoon world. Especially compared to other comic book movies that we've gotten. Other comic book movies that we had at the time, kind of. And then Amazing Spider-Man comes onto the scene, and it's not that. It's a much more, I hate to say dark and gritty version of Spider-Man, but that's kind of what it is. I wouldn't say they lean too deep into it necessarily. It's not like it's trying super hard to be like dark and edgy or whatever, but it is a much more dark and gritty take on the character, which I think is fine. It doesn't destroy this movie, I don't think. A lot of people are gonna say that it does. You're welcome to think that. I personally don't. This is my video. You don't get a say in this. Except for in the comment section. You could say whatever the heck you want in there. Within reason. Please be nice. I will say, one thing these movies do absolutely correct is, like, Spider-Man's personality, I'd say. At least when he's in the suit. When he's in the suit, he's clever and quippy and, like, this confident badass. And I get the whole idea is that when he's outside the suit, when he's Peter Parker, he's supposed to be this shy, awkward nerd dude. So why does he look like a hipster and skateboarding through the halls? Okay, sure. I get that. But apparently from what I've heard from another YouTube channel who knows a lot about this stuff, another YouTube channel that does their homework a lot. This version of Peter Parker is a lot closer to how he actually was in the original comic books. So take that as you will. The shy, nerdy version of Peter Parker that we see is probably wasn't. I mean, Peter Parker was always a nerd, but him being like shy and awkward and everything, that probably didn't come about until the Sam Raimi trilogy. So there's that. We can take that into consideration. I don't want to throw shade towards anyone for how they believe a character should be, but I feel as though this should be acknowledged to some degree. Anyways, also upon my watching of the Sam Raimi trilogy, I kind of noticed that a lot of times Spidey moves kind of slow and sluggish for Spider-Man. Kind of, and like most of that we can chalk it up to just they were just actually recording him, just Tobey Maquire in the suit, and he can only do so much. He can only do so much. But like, yeah, on repeat watching now, if you look back on them, you can definitely tell the difference between Tobey in the suit and just CGI. And here in the Mark Webb movies, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, that line between the two is much blurrier. I mean, there's some stuff that you can look at him doing, and you can clearly tell, okay, they had to do like CGI for that or whatever. But it's not like the stark contrast of like you see Peter Parker do this, make this jump here, and then he's doing this thing over there. It doesn't feel like two different Spider-Men. That's the same. It doesn't look like two separate people being able to do two separate things. It looks like the same person being able to do the same thing, and like it looks better. The connection between actual live action and just the photorealistic animation is better. They're connected more visually, I feel like. But then MCU Spider-Man always looks like CGI. Shut up! Shut your face! I don't want none of that. Shut up! I think I've seen people overall kind of hate on. I don't see a lot of love for the villains in these two movies, which I feel like is a bit of a shame. I honestly like how they did the Lizard in this first movie. In the first one, I like how they did the Lizard. Honestly, I think it's all right. Maybe his face could stand to have a better design, maybe, but like. I don't know, man. It doesn't bother me all that much. I think it's fine. Honestly, if they went for a more actual reptilian look, like they gave him the snoot, it would probably look silly. It would probably just look really silly and ridiculous and out of place, and you wouldn't be able to take it seriously. Also, character-wise, I like them. Like the characterization of the Lizard in this movie, I feel like was really good. Also, you can tell a clear difference clear visual difference between. In Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, if nothing else, the color grading. It's a lot of muted colors in the first movie, and the second one is much more bright. It's much more bright and vibrant with its colors. That's not really a slight towards the movie in any way. That's not me trying to point out something negative. It's just something I want to point out. It's just something to notice. I noticed it. I'm sure you noticed it. A lot of people noticed it. I'm sure of it. That also being said, I kind of like the villains in the second movie also. Mostly Electro. I thought did well. If nothing else, visually, he's really good. That design for Electro looks really darn good. Pretty sure that it has been actually officially confirmed that, that version of Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro in No Way Home. And from what we've seen in the first trailer and the posters, there's a lot of yellow electricity. So maybe they're gonna change up how Electro looks, how Jamie Foxx Electro looks. He did say he wasn't gonna be blue this time, which I feel like it's kind of a shame. I like the blue Electro. We'll see. He'll probably look good and probably look good here too. Also, I'd imagine. We do also know that Lizard is coming back from Amazing Spider-Man 1, so that should be fun. When are they going to change it? When are they going to change his design? When are they going to make him a more vibrant green? So probably will. I imagine they'd probably make him a more vibrant green. Make him look like touch him up a bit, make him a bit better. Or maybe they'll just really take the model from the first. Maybe they'll just take the model from Amazing Spider-Man and just plop it in there, and boop, there you go. I don't know. Who knows? You don't know. You don't know. Maybe you do know. Maybe we saw it in the second trailer. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. And I know people have made fun of the Green Goblin to death in the second movie. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Green Goblin, I understand people don't like it. I can understand you not liking the lead up to him becoming Green Goblin. I understand not liking that. Totally, honestly, I do. Truly, I understand not liking that. It doesn't bother me, but I can see why it would bother you. But again, visually, his design, not terrible, I don't think. It's a new take on the character that I don't particularly hate. Is it super great? No? Is it terrible? I don't think so. They were definitely going for a more real-world angle for these two movies and the subsequent sequels and spin-offs that they were planning on. That ended up not happening, unfortunately, for them. Sorry, Sony. And maybe you can bring back Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in Venom. Or Morbius. One of those two, unless something happened. Supposedly there's a hell of an end credit scene in Let There Be Carnage. I haven't been able to see that one. I wasn't able to go to see that. And as far as I know, it's not on any streaming services right now, so I've been just narrowly avoiding spoilers. But from context clues I've seen, and it's very blurry images, I have a good idea of what it was. So great, man. The legacy of the cinematic legacy of Spider-Man is a whole mess. All the stuff in the cartoon is freaking ridiculous too. Also, honestly, Spider-Man as a whole is like the Spider-Man mythos as a whole is just kind of a jumbled mess when you really look at it. And we still love the character for some reason. Huh? I'm not gonna question it. I like him. I think he's cool. Now we move on to the thing everyone loves in these movies: his relationship with Gwen Stacy. Damn, it's good. There's just this level of chemistry that they have in these movies that we haven't been able to see in any of the other movies. It's freaking dope. I don't entirely know how they managed that level of chemistry, but whatever tips you had, whatever tricks you did, tell everyone else so that they can do better. I heard somewhere that they were actually like dating off screen. I don't know if that's true. I feel like maybe it isn't, or maybe it could be. I don't know. So as far as I'm aware, that's kind of generally how things go with this kind of stuff. So like whatever. Also, I know a lot of people got in a big huff because Uncle Ben doesn't say with great power comes great responsibility, and they don't say it in the MCU either. Whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Also, hey, geniuses, Uncle Ben never actually said that in the comics. Maybe he said it after. Maybe he said it sometime after the Sam Raimi trilogy came out. Or maybe slightly before. But in the actual original comics that everyone keeps saying, oh, but in the comics, this, that, and the other thing. In the original comics, Uncle Ben never actually said that. No one in the actual comic actually said that. It was a little box of text from Stan Lee himself. Stan said that. No one in the Spider-Man mythos ever actually said, with great power comes great responsibility. That was Stan's contribution. Most of it is Stan's contribution, but you know what I mean. So with everyone getting in a huff about why didn't Uncle Ben say the line that we all know he said, because he didn't say it. That was never his line. That was never his grand line until the Sam Raimi trilogy came out. And now everyone tries to point at The Amazing Spider-Man and say, Uncle Ben didn't say the thing. Too bad. Suck it up. And like I said in the last video, you can disagree with me all you want. I don't care enough to be angry with you. I just don't. I don't have the energy to. I don't know how you people do it. People get passionately, furiously angry about these movies, and I just don't get it. I don't get it, man. I think maybe I kind of was able to deal with it at first, but then it just kept happening. I just kept seeing it. I'm burned out, man. I'm burned out. I don't have the energy to argue with you. I just don't. I want to put my opinions out there. You can agree with them or not. I don't care anymore. Disagree with them or don't. Whatever. It's not going to affect my life. My opinion is not going to affect your life. Can we not just exist in our own separate corners? Can we coexist together? Without trying to freaking burn each other at the stake because we like a different version of Spider-Man? What is this? Back to actually talking about the movie, freaking The Parents. That was new. That was a new thing that we had never seen in any Spider-Man media ever. Before or since. Except for kind of in the comic books, or maybe they're S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, I think. Secretly? Something? I don't know. The computer went into sleep mode because I wasn't pushing buttons. That's not allowed. No, come back to life. I need to see that my audio is recording good. So yeah, that was a weird subplot that kind of ended up not really going anywhere. Except for it to tell us that only that had to be Peter that got bit. Because if it was anyone else, it wouldn't have worked. Peter was the chosen one because it was his dad's DNA. I kind of don't like that. Part of the appeal of the character is that it could have just been anyone. Peter just so happened to be the guy that got bit. that a big part of the fun of this character is that he could be anyone really. Peter just so happened to be the one that got bit by the spider, so okay, he's Spider-Man. Sure, okay. He wasn't destined for it, it just happened. That's why there's so many other universes where so many other timelines where it's not Peter Parker. Maybe it's Miles Morales. Maybe it's Gwen Stacy. Maybe it's Penny Parker. Maybe it's Miguel O'Hara. Maybe it's Peter Parker's daughter. Maybe it's Uncle Ben, and the entire world gets destroyed or something, and then he's the only one left alive for whatever reason. And he's all sad and lonely because all his wife and nephew are dead. As far as I know, that didn't get a comic line on its own. We only ever heard about that because of the Spider-Verse comic book line, not the movie. The original comic book line of Spider-Verse, I think, was the introduction to that. But yeah, that happened. That was real. So yeah, now knowing that they were planning a bunch of different sequels and spin-offs, it's very clear they were trying to set up something with the parents. So I have no clue what that was going to be. I don't think any of us do. Probably someone does. I don't know. I'd be fascinated to learn what it is, and quite frankly, I kind of wish that there was a third movie so that we could have seen where they were going to go with it. Maybe it would have been terrible. Maybe it would have been amazing. Spectacular, even. I have no way of knowing. I don't freaking know. Also, there's that basement in Oscorp that just has the tech necessary to make a bunch of other supervillains. Why are Doc Ock's arms in there when the whole thing is that he made the arms himself, and then went crazy. Also, the Rhino maybe could have been done a bit better. Speaking of which, the opening of the second one, not with the parents. Forget the parents. We all forget about the parents. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm talking about when we actually see Spider-Man swinging through New York trying to stop the truck. That scene is fun as hell. I've seen a lot of people point out the fact that Spidey kind of seems like he's just joking around when a bunch of lives are at stake. And yeah, okay, that's a fair argument. But also, there's probably an argument to be made that maybe his spider sense told him how many people were in the respective cars and if the impact was going to kill them. He could use his spider sense to tell that these particular cars either were parked and empty, or they only had the one guy in it, and the car was going to get hit from the right, but then the driver was going to be just fine. Maybe you can say that. That's an argument that can be made. I'm not saying I'm making that argument. I'm saying that that's the argument that can be made, because we see him turn the car. At one point, we see him turn the truck to not hit a bunch of cars. So, I don't know. And then he uses spider sense to tell that it's about to hit this bus with a bunch of people in it, and this father and his daughter walking on by it. And so he stops that from happening. So if he can sense that, then it makes sense that he can sense the other people who were in the other cars that the truck just ran over. Or maybe Spider-Man's just being careless. I don't know. Either way, that's not the explanation we're given. And it does just kind of look like Spider-Man's just meandering along while people are potentially dying. So that's kind of the general assumption. So prove otherwise. If that's not what actually happened, prove otherwise, and then we can say that that's what it is. But we have no proof that it is anything but that. So that's not great. That being said, the second movie is overall a lot more fun of a watch. It's a lot more of a fun time than the first one is. But that's really just because the first one is trying a lot harder to be all like grim and gritty. Kind of dark and gritty, kind of, sort of. Which again, I don't hate. But that makes the second one feel a lot more fun. Even if you can say, oh, it has the same problem as before, to where it's too many villains, and there's a lot of subplots going on. There's Peter and Harry. There's Peter and Gwen. There's Harry and Max. There's Spidey and Max, or Electro. Max Dillon, Electro. Same. That's his name. Electro's name is Max Dillon. In case you didn't watch the movie and didn't know that, or maybe you knew that still without watching the movie. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what you know. I don't know you at all. I don't know who's watching this. I know I'm recording this and hoping that a bunch of Spider-Man fans listen to it, but I don't know if that's happening. So, is my mic staying in the way? No, it isn't. Okay, good. My mic stand is right here next to the lens, so I didn't know if it was on camera. What else can I say about these movies? They have gotten to basically everything I wanted to talk about. This recording is a lot shorter than my talk about the Sam Raimi movies. Probably because there was 3 of those, and there's only 2 of these. And, basically everything that could be said about these 2 movies has already been said. So I'm not adding much to the conversation. I'm just, whatever, I'll put in my 2 cents. It's not going to hurt anything, is it? Is there anything else I can say? I don't know. The Gwen Stacy's death really, really hits. They did something right for that to actually hit really good. Even for people who don't like the entire rest of the movie, everyone says the general unanimous agreement is that the relationship between Peter and Gwen is really good. So much so that it actually does hurt when she dies. I guess that's it. I guess that's all I got for these 2 movies. I was expecting to record more, but I guess not. Okay. That's the end of that. That's the end of that. Yes. Oh, and also, the first Amazing Spider-Man has probably one of the best Stan Lee cameos ever. One of the best. I'm not saying it's the number 1. That honor goes to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it. That's really good. That's number 1. My second favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where he's with the Watchers. Because it just makes sense. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's the end of this. Okay, bye. Spectacular, 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 spectacular. The T-shirt of champions. All right, so I rewatched Homecoming and Far From Home. I keep getting Far From Home and No Way Home confused in my brain because they're so similar. They couldn't have figured out something different. Spider-Man Home Wrecked. That's the name I was going with for a long time before it actually got announced. Whatever, we're not here to talk about the names. We're here to talk about the movies themselves. So if you're part of the Spider-Man fandom at all, you've probably seen a lot of people saying that the Raimi films are gospel and that the MCU Spider-Man is literally the worst thing to happen to the character. Really? I don't get that at all. Why are people are so determined to hate on MCU Spider-Man? I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm not gonna do like I did with those other ones and try to do a play-by-play of what happened in the movies, basically. I don't think that's what I ended up doing even. So whatever, I'll just talk. Let's talk whatever. I know that whatever I say in this video is not going to convince anybody. I understand this, but I still have my arguments to make, so I'm going to make them. People aren't going to listen. I don't care anymore. Maybe I can convince somebody in doing this. Let's hope. Hopefully someone will listen. Or maybe again, no one will listen. Whatever. It's not going to hurt anything either way. So firstly, to the criticism of the idea that Spider-Man is just waiting for Iron Man to show up in Homecoming. Throughout Homecoming, Peter's whole thing is that he's just waiting for Tony Stark to show up to help him. That's just factually incorrect. You didn't watch the same movie if that's what you think is happening. Literally every time Tony shows up, the 2 times that it happens, the 2 times Iron Man shows up to help Peter, he's surprised And he's very much not expecting it. The first time it happened is when he falls into the lake with the parachute around him, and Iron Man jumps in and helps him out. Spider-Man straight up says,
"Anyway, Mr. Stark, you didn't have to come all the way out here. I had that. I was fine."
Which tells us that he didn't want Iron Man's help, but he got it. He wasn't just waiting for Iron Man to show up. That's just not what happened. That's just not how it is. Iron Man did show up and help him, but Peter wasn't waiting for that to happen. He didn't get into his earpiece and say, "Oh, Mr. Stark, help! I'm in the ocean, help!" He didn't do that. The ocean was a lake, but whatever. And I see so many people point to the ferry scene as if to say that's when he was just sitting and waiting for Iron Man to show up. Did you actually see that scene? Did you see what happened? Because if you actually watched the movie and saw what happened in that scene, you'll notice that he is going out of his way to try and fix the ferry himself as best as he can. He's looking for all the strong. He's using Karen to find all the strongest points and then web them together. Web the two halves together from the strongest structurally support, the strongest points on the boat. Why is my computer frozen? Are we okay? What's happening? Okay, I guess we're fine. But no, yeah, he's actively trying to fix the boat as best as he can, and then when that doesn't work, he's going out of his way. He's trying to hold the ferry together by sheer force of will as best as he can. He's likely about to be ripped apart doing this. But as far as he knows, there's no help, there's no backup. He's actively trying to do it by himself, and then Iron Man just so happens to show up because he can just tell, because he from the phone call earlier before the boat got ripped in half, he can tell, okay, he messed up, I need to go help him. So he's not just waiting for Iron Man to show up. That is so not what's happening in that movie. That's so not what's happening in that scene. Why do so many people who point to the ferry scene as if to say, yeah, this is it. This is proof that Spider-Man is just waiting for Iron Man to show up in Homecoming. Are you kidding? Are you for real? Are you for serious? Did you watch the movie? Did you watch the same movie that I did? Did we watch the same movie? Because clearly we didn't. Clearly you saw something that wasn't there. I hate that argument because it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. They're just people lying to put on this false narrative and give people a reason to hate on MCU Spider-Man. And whatever, if you don't like MCU Spider-Man, whatever. If you personally have legitimate reasons for not liking MCU Spider-Man, that is okay. That is fine. But don't try and make stuff up and push some sort of false narrative. Don't try and say that stuff happened when it didn't. Just to convince everyone else. That's not okay. That's not fair. Don't do that. Good Lord. Oh, but Tony Stark made his suit for him. Spider-Man's supposed to make the suit himself. Well, he did make the suit himself. He did try and make a suit himself. We saw what the suit looked like before Tony stepped in and helped him. And it looks like what a high school kid, a 14-year-old kid with no budget would have been able to make. And it's not the Spider-Man suit. It's just not the suit that we know. Would you rather him just wear that the entire movie? Because that makes more sense. That makes more sense. And that's just how it would be if a high schooler actually had to make his own superhero costume. But also the suit has too many gadgets in it, and Spider-Man shouldn't have all these gadgets. First off, now listen here. Listen to my words. Come close. Listen to me. Listen to me when I'm talking to you. Look at me. Look at my eyes. Peter was not supposed to have any of those gadgets yet. The gadgets were built into the suit, but Peter was not supposed to have access to them. He was supposed to work up to those and earn them. When he and Ned hacked into the suit, they rushed the process and unlocked all the suit's functions before he was ready. So shut the hell up with that. Also, Spider-Man is very much known for using gadgets. Spider-Man has used several different gadgets, several different webs across the several different versions of him that we've seen. Not in the movies. This is the first time that the movies have done it. But if you look at the comic books and probably a few cartoons, Spider-Man has used plenty of gadgets. So, hush. Hush your face with that argument. It's ridiculous and stupid. And it's pushing an agenda, kind of, I feel like. Sure, I'm going to use that wording. Pushing an agenda. I don't like it. It's not fair. It's not fair and it's not okay. And then I know a lot of people kind of said that he was relying on the gadgets too much. But then you still see him be very resourceful when the gadgets are taken away from him. So I'm sorry, I don't get you people. Literally every complaint that people have about MCU Spider-Man is either some false information or it's something that is solved in the movies themselves. Or was Spider-Man relying on the gadgets too much? Take him away. Let's see what he does without him. Oh, he relies on Iron. Oh, he's waiting for Iron Man to show up to solve all his problems. No, he isn't. He's trying to solve them himself, and then Iron Man just shows up. Like it's real dumb. It's real stupid. There were complaints about Far From Home too, but I can't remember them now. I had them in my brain, and I've lost them because I got too worked up about what everyone said about Homecoming. And that, like, people already made up their minds about MCU Spider-Man and Homecoming, and then that just kind of spread, and that just bled over into all of MCU Spider-Man. Like, I don't get that. Oh, yeah, freaking Far From Home. He gets Edith, and then the drone strike on Aaron. That's not his name. Is it? Brad. His name's Brad. I don't know why I thought Aaron. Oh, because Brad Davis and then Aaron Davis. Aaron Davis is a character in something. I can't think of what that's another Marvel character, right? Yes, that's Miles Morales' uncle. Yes. The Prowler. Yes, he's also in Homecoming. Played by Donald Glover. Childish Gambino. People got in such a hissy fit because of the accidental drone strike on Brad that Spidey does in Far From Home. But what you have to understand is Tony Stark just gave him this super high-tech weapon system without an instruction manual or even any way to know that it has weapons built into it. All they either says is that she can hack into stuff, and like that's kind of it. As far as Peter knows, all that she can do is just hack into stuff and like find information and whatever. He has no way of knowing that the drone strike can happen, and he doesn't. And even if he did know that it could happen, he just doesn't say how to activate it. Peter has no way of knowing that the drone strike is about to happen. He has no way of knowing that, hey, if you say that your classmate is a target, the glasses are going to try and shoot him. He has no way of knowing that. There's no instruction manual. There's no any sort of way to know how to work these things. This is on Iron Man. This is Tony's fault. This is Tony's fault for not giving any sort of contingency for if this sort of thing happens, or just some sort of instruction or something, some sort of system in place to make sure that Peter doesn't just accidentally do that. That's on Tony for not thinking this through. This is not on Spider-Man on account of he didn't know. He literally didn't know that could happen. We don't know that can happen until it does happen. What the hell else did people say about these movies? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, and also the freaking bell tower scene when the fake water monster, we can say it's Hydro Man, sure, whatever. When fake not Hydro Man is freaking tearing up Venice and Mysterio is dealing with it, and then that causes the bell tower to start to tip over, and Spidey's trying to handle it, and people got upset because he hit his head on the bell tower. He has his head on the bell. What is this? Why is he so incompetent? This is Disney Channel humor. Ha 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 ha. This is stupid. Dude, he had it under control, and then the fake water monster hit it, and that knocked him over. And then that sent him careening into the bell with no way of freaking reacting to it. That happened twice. What's he supposed to do? Oh, why didn't he duck? Why didn't you duck? Why didn't he duck? Maybe because it happened in a split second. He didn't have time to react. Given the exact same situation, Tobey Maquire Spider-Man would have done the exact same thing. So would Andrew Garfield. So would pretty much any other Spider-Man that we've seen ever. In that situation, he would have his head on the bell as well. And when people complain about that, they're clearly pointing to that to say, this MCU Spider-Man is incompetent. He still saved the freaking thing! He was being totally serious the entire time, and he actually saved the people that he was trying to save. He moved the bell tower over so that it wouldn't fall on anyone. Like, pay attention to what's happening before you make some sort of ridiculous accusation. Also, I saw on Twitter the other day, someone was like live tweeting them rewatching all the other Spider-Man movies, kind of like what I'm doing, but I didn't live tweet. I'm just making videos on it. And then he got to I don't know which one. It might have just been the first one. It might have just been the first Sam Raimi movie. And then he pointed out that, like, oh, Spider-Man has swung through the city more times already in like the first 30 minutes or whatever than he has in the entire MCU. Brother, I need you to shut up. Like, don't use that as an argument. Don't use that as an argument like that's fair. If you really pay attention, you'll notice that, weirdly enough, that the Spider-Man that you have complained hasn't swung through New York enough times hasn't really been in New York for a lot of it. Oh, that's another problem. Spider-Man's supposed to be in New York. Why isn't he in New York? Meh. Shut up. Like, shut up. People are just looking for reasons to be angry at this point. People are just actively holding these movies under a microscope, under a magnifying glass to find things to be angry at. So many people are so determined to just hate MCU Spider-Man for no good reason. It makes no sense. It doesn't help that I think it was High Top Films freaking went out. He's another YouTuber, if you didn't know. You probably do if you're watching this. But he freaking went out here and reviewed these movies and actively said that, oh, Spider-Man is relying on Tony Stark too much. Oh, Spider-Man did this wrong and that wrong and this, that, and the other and whatever. So because this big popular content creator who talks a lot about superhero media said these things, made these claims, everyone is like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, no, yeah, that's right, and we should be angry about it. Watch the damn movies. Like, actually watch the movies and pay attention to what's happening. Rewatch the ferry scene, all of it. Rewatch the entire ferry scene, and actually watch it. Don't just sit there and don't just sit there with your grimace on your face and be like, and just. You don't go into this already having the mindset of, I'm going to be angry at this. Don't do that. Sit down and genuinely watch that scene back and tell me if it looks like Peter is waiting for Iron Man to show up. Like, if you just genuinely don't like MCU Spider-Man, that's fine. I don't care enough to be angry with you if you just genuinely don't like this take on the character. That's fine. You could just not like it. Fine, whatever, I don't care. I really don't care enough. But what I do care about is when your reasoning for disliking this take on the character is based on bullcrap. Like, just the reasonings people make up for disliking this version of Spider-Man just don't make any sense. I saw one dude who has a podcast. I can't remember what the podcast was called or whatever. But then he was talking about Endgame and when everyone gets snapped back, and when Spider-Man comes out, when Spider-Man smiles, he has this grin on his face, and then that upset him because Spider-Man was too happy. So you're upset because this character who is supposed to be 15 or 16 at the time at this current juncture is excited to fight alongside a bunch of his favorite heroes in the battle for the universe. I'm sorry, was he not supposed to be excited about that? What? This is a teenage kid who has dreamed about doing this exact same thing, getting the chance to do it. This is a 16-year-old kid who has dreamed of fighting alongside the Avengers for who knows how long at this point, for a few years now, and now he's getting the chance to do it. And you're upset because he's excited about it? What the hell did you want his reaction to be? It doesn't make sense. And this leads me to another thing that I hate. I know a lot of people don't like about the Spider-Man fandom. People just think that Spider-Man has to be miserable all the time. People think that Spider-Man is just not allowed to have a good day. He's not allowed to have fun or enjoy life. He has to be miserable and sad the entire time and depressed. Otherwise, it's not really Spider-Man. And I just don't get that. Why is that the case? I'm sorry, why does that have to be the case? Oh, because everything goes wrong for him. A lot of times, sure. Sure, there needs to be times where Spider-Man is miserable because, yeah, that's kind of a part of the character, but it doesn't need to be all the time. The whole idea of Spider-Man is that he's this fun, happy-go-lucky character. Why do we want him to be miserable all the time? I don't get that. I'm willing to bet that part of that comes from Spider-Man 2, the second movie in the Sam Raimi trilogy, where Peter is miserable throughout the entire movie. Everything's going wrong for him. He can't catch a break. And so many people point to that movie and say that is the greatest Spider-Man movie ever. And whatever you could think of that, I don't care. Yeah, but people point to that movie and say, this is Spider-Man, this is peak Spider-Man. And then they look at that and then they look at how Peter is miserable the entire time and they think that's how Spider-Man has to be all the time. If Spider-Man's not that, if Spider-Man is happy at all, then it's not really Spider-Man. Spider-Man's allowed to have a good day every now and then. He's allowed to have fun. He's allowed to enjoy life. It doesn't need to always be sad and miserable the entire time. Pete's allowed to have a good day every now and then. Why is that so hard for people to understand? But that's important for the character. Everything has to go wrong for him. That's Parker luck. Anytime he tries to do something good, everything goes bad. But he still tries to keep doing good. That's not the entire character. That's a big part of the character, yes, but it's not the entire character. People act like that has, if that's not in the movie, then it's not a true Spider-Man movie. If Spider-Man isn't suffering the entire time, then it's wrong. But the defining trait of Spider-Man is that everything goes wrong for him, but he still finds a way to persevere. Then explain Spider-Man 2. If you notice, in Spider-Man 2, he is actively miserable, he can't catch a break, everything sucks for him, and then he comes to the conclusion, and in this movie, in the same movie, mind you, in this movie, in Spider-Man 2, he ends up coming to the conclusion, after he goes to the doctor, he comes to the conclusion, being Spider-Man is why my life sucks. So I'm going to quit. And then he does. He quits being Spider-Man in that movie. He doesn't persevere. He doesn't keep going. He doesn't push through or whatever. He doesn't look at all this misery and make himself stronger because of it. He doesn't persevere through it. He quits. He quits, and he's willing to stay quit until Doc Ock shows up and threatens MJ. There's a high-speed chase going by. Nope, gotta eat my hot dog. There's another nerd getting mugged literally right next to me. I can't deal with that. I'm not Spider-Man anymore. I can't do it. No, I quit. And therefore I cannot be good. I cannot use my power responsibly. Screw what Uncle Ben said. Oh, great power, great responsibility. No, forget that. No, I'm done. No, I'm out. No, doing that is like hard and junk. So I'm gonna stop. And in the third movie, he's a jerk. He's kind of a jerk in the third movie. And I get most people point to the third movie and say that sucks anyways. Whatever. But like, really, this is the Spider-Man that everyone says is the best. This is how Spider-Man should be. Really? And like I get, and yeah, whatever. By the end of the movie, it's like, oh, you should be Spider-Man again, and whatever. But he doesn't ever come to that conclusion. Like he really doesn't come to that conclusion because of the sense of responsibility. He comes back to that conclusion because, oh shoot, my girlfriend's in trouble. Sure, and you can say that the girl in the burning building, that's what really, and then the fact that he couldn't get to the other person is what motivated him, but like that doesn't really do much. That makes it so that he can use his powers again and then just immediately fall on his back, because that was an important scene. We needed to see that. This is coming off like I hate the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I don't hate MCU. I don't hate Raimi Spider-Man, and I'm not a simp for. I'm not shilling for MCU Spider-Man. I'm shilling for the entire MCU, but that's a different thing. I'm not out here trying to defend MCU Spider-Man just because it's MCU Spider-Man. I'm not here trying to crap on Sam Raimi Spider-Man just because it's Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And you notice I'm not even touching the Garfield films. I already said my piece about those. We're talking about these. I just hate the way that the Sam Raimi movies are treated as gospel, while MCU Spider-Man is treated as the worst thing ever. That's just not fair. That's not right. Stop doing that. If you truly, honestly, legitimately believe that Sam Raimi's movies are the best Spider-Man movies and MCU Spider-Man is out of all of them the worst, okay, fine. Fine, whatever, I don't care. But just the comparisons that people make are just so unfair. The comparisons and the criticism that people make towards these movies is just not fair. It's not fair to these movies. It's not fair to this version of the character that you don't, because you don't like it because he's doing these things that he's not actually doing. Because you have made up in your mind that he's doing these things that he's not actually doing. You hate him for it. It's like when you're asleep and you have a dream about your friend doing this really douchey thing to you, and for the entire rest of the day you're mad at him. You have to understand that that's not fair, right? You have to understand that that's not fair to do. It happens, sure, but the next day you recognize he didn't actually do those things. That didn't actually happen. That was in my subconscious. That's something that my brain came up with and didn't actually really happen. So I can't judge him on this thing that he didn't actually do. It's the exact same, not the exact same thing, but it's the same kind of idea as that. And like it's being a Spider-Man fan is exhausting. I just want to like the character. I can't sit down and just enjoy a Spider-Man movie anymore because I'm too busy looking at all the things that people are complaining about and looking at all the things that people are complaining about, looking at all the things that people are praising endlessly, and finding myself not agreeing with either side. Raimi fans put Tobey Maquire on this unfair pedestal and unfairly hate on the other two versions way too much. And then so many MCU Spider-Man fanboys will try and belittle anyone who likes Tobey Maguire. And like that's not fair either. And then I don't know what the Andrew Garfield fans are doing. They're just freaking they're probably saying something too, but everyone else is too damn loud. Everyone else is too damn loud. I can't hear them. I like to think that's the two sides arguing with each other, and then the Andrew Garfield fans are just having to be in the middle of it and just sitting there like, I just want to like the movie, man. I just want to watch my movies. I just want to like the character. Is that okay? No, it has to be this specific version of the character or nothing else? Oh, okay. What, no, that version's wrong? Or this one? I don't know anymore. It's like, whatever. Make your own opinions. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Just stop regurgitating the same bullcrap over and over. I swear, if I hear one more Iron Man Jr. crack about MCU Spider-Man, I'm gonna freaking explode. Anyway, I'm recording this on the day that the No Way Home tickets go on sale. I personally am unable to purchase them at this very moment, but hopefully I'll be able to see them in theaters, and hopefully I won't get spoiled before I end up seeing them, before I end up seeing the movie. I'm very excited. It's bringing back the villain, basically looking like it's bringing back basically all the villains that Spider-Man's ever faced in any of the movies. So that's cool. And Tobey and Andrew are probably going to show back up. That's really cool also. So this movie's, one way or another, this movie's going to be really fun. And I'm going to enjoy it. I have my set movie reviewers that I watch who generally don't take a side either way. So I'm going to listen to their opinions, and I'm going to try my best to just tune everyone else out, because I know people are going to make some bullcrap claims or whatever. Or at least I'm going to tune out everyone who's hating on the movie. People who love the movie are like generally pretty genuine about it. Whenever the movie is new and fresh, generally you'll find that the people who really enjoy the movie are really just being genuine about it. They're just like, oh, this movie was really fun. I liked seeing the characters do this. I like this action scene or whatever. I like the design of this character and all that. But then the people who don't like the movie are actively crapping on it, and I just don't have the energy for that anymore. Like, I just want the positivity. That's all I want. That's all that I have the energy for. When the movie comes out and I end up watching it, I am willing to listen to some negative criticism towards the movie, if it's like genuine and not just hating on it for the sake of it. If it's not some ridiculous bullcrap argument, then okay, I'll listen to it. Otherwise, I can't with this anymore. I let this be fun, and now I'm all worked up. The Spider-Man fandom has broken me. I used to be able to take it too, and then it just became too much. I can't deal with this crap anymore. Anyways, that's the end of this. We're done here. I'm excited for No Way Home. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be fun. This might be the end of the MCU Spider-Man's journey. So if that's the case, cool. Okay, this will be a hell of a way to end it off, and I'm excited to see it. Or there'll probably be more of him. There'll be probably more of Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU. I think that's already been confirmed that they have plans for what they want to do. I don't know how those plans are going to work out. I don't know what sort of deal they've struck or whatever. I just want to enjoy this movie. That's all I care about anymore. I just want to enjoy this movie. I want to enjoy this movie. I don't want to see any more leaks. I don't want to see any spoilers. I just want to sit down and enjoy the movie and have my fun time and then go about my business. I was kind of going back and forth on whether or not I should make a video about No Way Home. Wasn't entirely sure. But, considering the fact that I've, at this point, talked about all the other Spider-Man movies, except for Spider-Verse. I'll talk about that one when Across the Spider-Verse starts coming out, whatever. Since I've already talked about all the other Spider-Man movies, it kind of feels like I might as well talk about No Way Home, complete the cycle. Also, like a lot of other people that you're going to see doing reviews on the YouTubes, this is going to be a spoiler review. I'm not going to talk about this movie without spoilers. Not because I'm like, I don't care or whatever, but just because you kind of can't. It's kind of impossible to really actually talk about this movie without going into the spoiler territory, because the big stuff that happens is very spoilery. The big stuff that we want to talk about is spoilery. So, if you ain't seen the movie and you want to see the movie, you don't want to see spoilers, get the hell out. Get out of here. You can come back later. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Go and get. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the stuff that happens. First off, and of course, just the big thing, the thing that of course everyone wants to talk about, the thing that people were already talking about before the movie came out. All the characters that come back. 3 of them. It's really only 3, but like that, they're still big. I want to talk about the smaller of the 3 cameos first. Almost the smallest out of the 3 is like saying, "Oh, that's a tall elf." Like, no, that's not a good comparison. Because sometimes elves are human size. Freaking, I didn't want to say tallest dwarf because then I'm referencing Heathers. I didn't want to reference Heathers in this, but I guess it's done. It's whatever. What happened? Whatever. What? So early on in the movie, when everyone is when there's a lot of legal fallout with everyone thinking that Spider-Man killed a bunch of people, Pete has to lawyer up, and he does, and his lawyer is in fact Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, aka the version of Daredevil that we saw on the Netflix show. Why is my computer frozen? We're fine. I was trying to check and see if my computer was had a different thing running, so I was supposed to press Alt-Tab, but I pressed Alt-F4, forgetting the things. So we're fine, whatever. We all heard the rumors, we all heard the speculate, we all heard about the leaks and everything that were going around. So a lot of people were expecting Daredevil to show up as Peter Parker's lawyer. It had gotten to the point to where there was a lot less evidence for that, so that's the thing I was less sure about. That's the one that just kind of felt like speculation and wishful thinking and whatever. And now we know the reason for that is because he's barely in the movie. He really is just a cameo. He doesn't even suit up. I figured he'd actually suit up. He'd get in the suit, he'd get in the outfit, he'd be Daredevil, but no, he just stays as Matt Murdock, which is fine. Honestly, it's fine. Just him being there is honestly enough. That's already huge enough. Because him being here in this movie, along with Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin showing up at the end of the last episode of Hawkeye, and he's going to be in the season finale, episode 6. You're gonna be seeing that before you see this video. Not on purpose. That's just how it's gonna be. I don't like it any more than you do. Maybe you don't care. Whatever. But between those two happening, this is straight up telling us, hey, the Marvel Netflix shows actually are still canon. They were always intended to still be canon. The intent when they first started up the Marvel Netflix shows was that they were canon to the MCU. But then the MCU kept going on and never referenced anything that happened in the shows. And the shows kept going and didn't reference anything that was happening in the movies besides the Avengers. Besides the Battle of New York. So it was just kind of a case of, okay, are these canon anymore? Are these canon? Do these matter? Do these matter to the MCU at all? Yeah, it looks like they're canon to some extent. So cool. I'm just saying that if it's all canon, if all Marvel Netflix, all the Marvel shows are canon, if all of Marvel Netflix is canon, if all of Marvel Netflix is canon to the MCU, and the Marvel Netflix shows are also canon to Cloak and Dagger, and Cloak and Dagger is canon to The Runaways, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just kind of exists. That's a lot we have to work with. It's a lot to work with. You can just reboot the Inhumans. That's what they're called. You just kind of reboot the Inhumans, whatever. No one liked that show. I didn't hate it, but no one liked it. And have the Marvel Netflix library. The one character I think you can maybe recast as Iron Fist. I didn't hate him, but like a lot of people do hate him. And apparently he didn't actually want to go through the effort of learning the martial arts to, make Iron Fist, the thing that he's known for. besides the Iron Fist himself. Whatever, you get it. So anyways, that's huge. That's a big deal. Freaking Charlie Cox Daredevil just shows up. He's just kind of there. That's awesome. That's dope. Do something with that. Go somewhere with it, please. Keep going. Bring the rest of them. Bring in Luke Cage. Bring in Jessica Jones. They could be in She-Hulk. That'd be cool. That would be really cool, actually. Make that happen, please. The Punisher? Maybe Moon Knight for Punisher. Punisher could show up in Moon Knight. Maybe Miss Marvel runs into Cloak and Dagger at some point, maybe. I don't know, man. I'm not in charge. It's not my job to make these movies. I'm just the messenger. Okay, now let's go back to the actual Spider-Man stuff. Okay, so we all know this deals with the multiverse. And because this is a spoiler review, I've already spoiled one thing. If you're still watching this, you're ready for spoilers. It ain't my fault at this point. I gave you your warning. You had your choice to leave, and you didn't leave. So now the spoilers are coming. So the other Spider-Man did come back, which was freaking cool. Which was really freaking cool. It's really freaking dope. Some problems, though. I have no issue with the movie itself. The movie itself handled this really well. It would have been cool for that to be a surprise, though. That would have been cool. That would have been neat. If I didn't go into the theater, expecting it, because the internet is freaking douchey. So many leaks and rumors were going around that I got to the point where I was kind of on the fence about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, at this point they're probably gonna show up, but I'm not gonna put my eggs in. I'm not gonna put my eggs in that basket yet. So I wasn't letting myself be excited for the possibility of this happening, because I was trying to keep myself. I was trying to restrain myself, trying to keep myself from actually being excited about it, in case it actually turned out to all be a farce, in case it actually wasn't happening. And because I was retaining that for so long, when it actually did happen, I was excited. I was like, oh shoot, they're here, that's cool. But I didn't get to feel the excitement fully like I was supposed to, because of all this, because of everything surrounding it. So the rumors and everything, the speculation kind of ruined the excitement a little bit for me. Also, my experience in the theater itself wasn't, the greatest. I was in the front row. I was kind of not the front row, but I was pretty close to the front row. Off to the side. Very close to the screen. So I'm having to look up like this the entire time. And the screen's like right here in front of my face. And I'm like, oh, wait, the thing's over there. Oh, dear, I'm having to turn my entire body to try and see something. So, sometimes it became difficult to see what the hell was going on screen. And it's hard to be excited about what's going on screen when you can't see the entire screen all at once. That was frustrating. Also, not to mention, I made the dingus mistake of not going to the bathroom before going into the theater. So I really had to go. I really had to pee. So I rushed out of the theater for like a minute. Went to the bathroom, cleaned my hand, and I ran back in, and Andrew Garfield was just on screen. I missed the reveal. Thankfully, that's all that I missed. That's literally it. I literally only missed it's Andrew Garfield showing up. I saw him there. By the time I got back, he was just already in the house with them. I just didn't get to see him. I just didn't get to see the portal open and him walk through it. So I missed the audience reaction to it. That would have been exciting. I got to see them react to Tobey, which was still cool. Like, yeah, this is cool. They're here. It's dope. So there just a few things here and there. Overall, kind of soured the experience slightly for me. But I so want to see this movie again without those restrictions, without those things getting in my way, so I can fully enjoy what the movie is. And I think that would be good for me. I really want to do that, but I can't right now. It's unfortunate. I hate being broke. It sucks. But when they are all together, and it's super fun. Super fun to see them all the Peters like in the up together. It's really nice seeing them all bond over the people that they've lost, these loved ones that they've lost. It was also insanely fun, just about as fun as we all expected it to be, to see them all, see them talk about their web shooters and how Tobey's the only one that uses organic webbing. Well, you guys can't do that? What? No, what? So wait, how's that work? Do the webs come out of, like, anywhere else, or just the wrists? And just all these different references to their past movies. That was so fun. That legitimately, that was really freaking good. I loved seeing that. It was so good for me, especially after I had just watched these movies. I had just rewatched these movies and made videos on them. You saw them, maybe you didn't. Whatever, they're there. All this stuff was still fresh in my mind, for the most part. And so then when the references happened to those past movies, it was so much more satisfying because oh my gosh, I just saw that. I just saw that happen. I'll say that might have been better in just plain nostalgia. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. And even the villains were really fun. I think seeing these villains again was gonna be freaking dope. Willem Dafoe Green Goblin. People are already saying it. He's freaking dope. He's just as good as he was in the original Spider-Man. It's so, oh my gosh. Can the Spider-Man come out to play? These aren't curses, they're gifts. Freaking Dr. Octopus shows up, and he's immediately asking about the machine. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. That's three times he said it. And it seems pretty clear that I know that people have been questioning some logistics about some of it. And, like, fair enough, some of it doesn't make sense because the whole idea is that they're brought over here because they're from reality, because in their realities they know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But Electro never learned that. So why is he here? I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. I love Electro. I love Electro in the original in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love that version of Electro. And I unironically love that version of Electro. I honestly wish they kept them blue. I like them blue. I'll say it. I'll be the only one. I ain't afraid to admit it. I liked blue Electro. I liked blue Jamie Foxx Electro. I thought he was cool. That being said, I really like him here. I really like the way that they used him here. He's really cool. The Lizard and the Sandman are kind of just there, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I ain't mad at it, but they just kind of are there. It is kind of annoying that Sandman is just walking around as a pile of sand the entire time. He never solidifies and goes full just human Flint Marco. That's a little annoying. That kind of bothered me a bit, but it's fine, whatever. But it is also a little disappointing that we didn't get a full Sinister Six. They stopped at 5. There's only 5 of them. I was expecting a 6th person to show up somewhere, but that just didn't happen. You just had to add one more villain. Just one more villain. You didn't have to... Yeah. You didn't have to be deep or anything. You didn't have to go in depth with the character or whatever. The 6th character could have just kind of been there the same way that freaking Sandman and Lizard are. But I guess who would you get? Because they can't just bring in Topher Grace Venom and have him just kind of be in the background. You really can't do that with Venom. If you gotta bring Venom in, he has to be like the spotlight. He has to be like the villain, really. He has to have a lot of screen time just to himself. They could have brought in New Goblin, Harry Osborn from Spider-Man 3. But then he's gonna have a whole dynamic with his dad as Norman, as Green Goblin. That's gonna be too much to add. And they bring in Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's just two Green Goblins. That's confusing. They could have brought in Rhino from the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that would have been dumb. Also, he didn't even get the chance to know who Spider-Man was. Pretty sure he doesn't know who Peter Parker is. So, like, that really wouldn't have meant anything. So, whatever. Maybe an alternate universe Vulture? Vulture wouldn't have fit here. Vulture would not have fit in this movie. At least not Michael Keaton Vulture. That wouldn't have worked. Tom Hardy Venom wouldn't have worked here either. Although he did get brought over. He got brought over, and we see that in the mid-credit scene. But him being put into the full villain ensemble wouldn't have worked. So I guess I get it. I get why they stopped at 5. But you were so close. You were so close to 6. A sinister 6. They could have just brought in someone different. They could have just brought in a different random character that we know to be a Spider-Man villain. They could have brought in a new version of Scorpion, or maybe a different version of Rhino. Scorpion, Rhino, Mr. Negative? No, that's too much. That's too far. I don't know. I feel like they could have brought in someone. Hammerhead. Could have brought in Hammerhead. Big Wheel. But no, I feel they probably could have found someone, but it's probably safest the way they did it. So, whatever. I don't have any gripes about it. Anyways, this video was all over the place. This is way long. This is a bit longer than I normally do it. But I just wanted to ramble. I just wanted to ramble about this movie. Also another thing. I'm seeing a lot of people. I've seen a lot of a bunch of other reviews for the movie. I've seen a lot of people who are kind of saying that this, quote, for lack of a better term, fixed Tom Holland Spider-Man. Because at the end of the movie, makes it that everyone forgets him, so that then he's kind of reset. So then he's back to basics, and they're like, oh yeah, now finally he's Spider-Man. Now he's real Spider-Man, or whatever. I don't like that sentiment. I don't like the sentiment that he wasn't a proper Spider-Man before. I never liked that sentiment. I always hated that. Like this idea that, oh, Peter is friends with a rich dude. He's not an everyman anymore. Yes, he is. He was totally still an everyman. Yeah, his suit was high tech, but he himself wasn't rich. Like, it's not like he inherited any of the money. He didn't inherit. Tony didn't leave him in his will or anything, except for unless you count Edith. Even still, that's not like that. Whatever. People are reading it differently. I get that. Whatever. But also, no one's highlighting the tragedy of what this is. Freaking his best friend and his girlfriend. They just do not know who he is. That's terrible. I've seen people talk about it, but no one's acknowledging that this is really freaking sad. Oh, that's what Spider-Man is. He's all about tragedy and sorrow or whatever. So, like, whatever. It's better status quo, or this is what Spider-Man should be, or whatever. I get all that. I understand it. But let's acknowledge what's actually but let's still acknowledge what's happening here. This is really freaking sad. Peter's best friend and girlfriend just don't know who he is. And he's on his own. He has no connections, no family. He's literally all alone. I'm not happy about this. Could things still work out for him? Yeah, sure. Whatever happens in the next movie, I'm still going to be excited to watch it. My throat's dry. People are so excited about this. They're like, this is the greatest thing ever or whatever. But it's kind of hard to be happy about this change when it's so sad. This is sad. This is horribly tragic. He literally is all alone. Aunt May is dead. Aunt May is dead. He has no connection to Happy. No connection to Ned or MJ. He has literally no one. I'm not out here trying to say that, oh, this is a bad change. I shouldn't have done this. But what I am trying to say is that I personally cannot be excited about this change because it's so sad, because it's so tragic. I can't be happy and excited about this until I see where they're going to take it. People are already excited about it being like, this is how Spider-Man should be or whatever. And I don't know, man, whatever. Maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm stupid or whatever. But just, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see with it. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes, but I don't know where it could go with this now. Like, who's he gonna fight now? Is he gonna have another love interest? Are they gonna introduce Cindy Moon? We're gonna get Silk? We've never gotten Silk in anything outside, like, the comics. And, like, one or two games. Silk is very underused. They haven't done anything with Silk whatsoever. So if you could bring in Silk, that'd be dope. I'd watch that. Who's he gonna fight? Now, who's gonna be the villain? Black Cat? You do Black Cat. Yeah, Kraven the Hunter. Big Wheel! There's still Scorpion. He still hasn't properly fought the Rhino in a movie. We haven't properly seen the Rhino in a movie yet. So there's him. I don't know. And Silver Sable. That's the only other one. Wherever they go with MC Spider-Man in the future, it has basically been confirmed that they're gonna do another trilogy with him. No clue where they're gonna take it. No clue what they're gonna do with it. But it's gonna happen. So we'll see. Whatever it is, whatever we get out of it, I'm sure it's gonna be great. It's gonna be freaking dope. Just whatever. I don't know what it's gonna be though, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna end the video now. I've been talking for too long. We're done. Goodbye. See you. Oh, jeez.